How's it? Welcome to the kitchen. Today we're going to make homemade pizzas. Now, homemade pizzas are a really easy and fun thing to do at home. Everybody can get involved, you can do whatever toppings you want, and then everybody gets their own pizza. It's a very simple recipe, but the first thing you want to do is get yourself a big bowl, and you want to add 1 packet of yeast. It's a 7-gram packet or a 10-gram packet. You can buy these at any shop, they're pretty cheap. So add yeast to a bowl. And to that yeast, you just want to add about 175 ml of warm water. Not boiling water out the kettle, just warm water out the tap is fine. What we're doing here is we're just reactivating the yeast. You're going to see, we're going to leave this for about 5 minutes, and in about 5 minutes you're going to see that yeast has started to bubble and foam a bit, and then you know it's ready to carry on. So for now, we'll just set that aside. In the meantime, you can prepare the rest of your ingredients. What you're going to need is about 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a tablespoon of sugar, 30 ml or 1/8 of a cup of olive oil, just a little bit of salt, and some extra flour for dusting your surface when you knead your meal. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes and the yeast is starting to look good. It's sort of bubbling a bit and you can see that something is going on inside that water. So the next thing we're going to want to do is bring your yeast back. Now we're just going to add the sugar and the oil. Give that a whisk just to get it all mixed up. And then what we're going to do after that is just start to add the flour into this bowl. Just want to get the sugar and the oil incorporated into that mixture. Now I'm just going to grab the wooden spoon, and now slowly you just want to start adding your flour into the bowl. So you can easily do this by hand like I'm going to do it now, or if you've got an electric mixer that'll be even easier. But just slowly add the flour bit by bit, mix it in there, and what you want to get is a sticky dough at the end. So you might find that your dough is a bit too sticky, you can add a little bit more flour. You might find it's a bit dry, just add a little splash of water until you get to a nice dough that's it's sticky, but you can still manage it and handle it. That's what we're aiming for here. Just keep on adding your flour bit by bit. And you'll find it gets to a point eventually where you can't really mix it with a spoon. It's better just to get in there with your hands. And that's what I'm going to do now. No, so it was an easy recipe. I didn't say it was not a messy recipe. But it's alright. All the oil in here, it's going to be good for your skin. So everybody wins. Right, so I've got a kind of sticky dough here. Now what I just want to do is get that onto the counter, get a little bit more flour onto the counter so it doesn't stick. Now you can just start to knead this out a bit. you just want to get to a point where all the flour is incorporated. It's not sticking to your fingers anymore, but it still is a little bit sticky. Okay, so this is what your dough looks like now. It's kind of smooth, it's not sticking to my hands anymore, and this is what we're looking for. So just set that aside for a moment, grab a big bowl, because now we're going to get this dough in here and this is going to rise. It's going to take about an hour, but just to make sure it doesn't stick to the bowl, just put a splash of olive oil into your bowl, grab a piece of roller towel, and just make sure you just coat the whole inside of the bowl with some olive oil, just so your dough doesn't stick to it. Right. Chuck your dough into the bowl, and this is going to double in size, we hope. Cover with some cling film, or a warm towel, or a damp towel, that'll be fine as well. I'm just going to use some cling film here. Cover it with a dish towel, and you need to set this aside for about an hour, somewhere warm. Warm, drafty spot is what you're aiming for. And then that's it. Now that the pizza base dough is busy rising, it's time to make the sauce for the top of the pizza. This is also a pretty simple recipe. First thing we're going to do is just finely chop up one small onion. You can only get big onions, just use about half. Red onion you could use if you want, but I think a sweeter white onion is your best bet. Right, one minor injury later, all the onions are chopped. Next thing you want to do is some crushed garlic. I always like to use fresh garlic. There's no point trying to get too fancy. Take your knife and just hammer it down. Then what really helps this process, if you just take a small sprinkling of salt, put some salt in your garlic, and then just sort of mash it on the board. That salt's going to help it break down as well as stay together in a sort of pasty format. Just give it a quick little chop. And there you have it, chopped garlic. Just put that aside. Okay. The next thing is the base of our sauce, and that's tomatoes. So I'm using whole tin tomatoes here, and you're going to need 2 tins. So this recipe, if you don't use all of it with your pasta, you don't put all the tomato on your shirt, probably make sauce for about 4 or 5 large pizzas. But if you don't use it all, you can always put it in the fridge for about a week. You can freeze it, and then you can use it at a later stage. So 2 cans of tomatoes in. And then just take a masher and just sort of crush them up a bit. You still want to leave pieces in there. So you don't want chopped tomatoes, you just want these tomatoes that are kind of broken down, chunky in the sauce. So I'm going to put that aside. Before we get cooking, there's a few other things you need. Just salt and pepper for seasoning later. About a teaspoon of dried oregano. Half a teaspoon of sugar, again just to bring out that flavor of the tomatoes. And if you've got some fresh bay leaves, maybe 3-4 fresh bay leaves, slice those up. Those will be great in there. Okay, time to cook your sauce. Get a pan on your stove, get it up to sort of medium heat, and then get in a good glug of olive oil to simmer the onions. Once your oil is hot, throw in your onions. We just want to get these to sweat down and start to just go translucent. With them nicely coated, and then you just want to let these go slightly translucent. Onions are starting to look nicely translucent. So next then we're just going to throw in our minced garlic. We just want that to go for just about a minute, just to start bringing out the aroma. Right, the garlic smells good. You can just start to see some little brown pieces. So now you throw in your tomatoes. And what we want to do is we just want to bring this to a slow simmer, and then we'll leave it to simmer for 15 minutes. But before we stop, just get sugar in there, your oregano. If you have basil leaves, this is when you'll add them, and then a good seasoning of salt and pepper. Alright, now this is simmering nicely, and we're going to leave this to simmer uncovered slowly for about 15 minutes. Oh, so this has been going for about 15 minutes, and you'll see it's really thickened up. So what I'm going to do now is just switch off the heat and just give it a quick blitz to get rid of some of the big tomato pieces. And you know what, if you don't have a blitzer or something like this, you can always just use a fork and just break down those bigger pieces in your sauce. And there it is, ready to eat. Alright, your pizza dough is made, it's risen, your pizza sauce is made, and now it's time to get your pizzas made. Just sprinkle a bit of flour onto your work surface so it doesn't stick, and then your dough should be about double the size by now. Just want to throw that out, give it a couple of kneads, not too much, you don't want to overwork your dough, and then you should be ready to go. If you find your dough is a bit sticky, you can always just add a little bit of flour, and then it won't stick to your hands and it won't stick to your surface. Now, if you're not going to use all of this, you can always freeze it. It'll keep for a while, and before you want to use it, just take it out of the freezer the morning before and stick it in the fridge to defrost slowly. And then it'll be perfect to use by the evening. So to cook your pizzas, just make sure you get your oven on to 250 degrees. If you've got a pizza oven, get that fire started a couple of hours in advance to make sure that the bricks are nice and hot. And if you've got a pizza stone, put that in the oven when you start it heating up so it comes up to heat slowly. Make them whatever shape you like, put whatever you want on them, and enjoy.